What inspired your journey into cyber leadership, and how did you first get involved with the Cyber Leadership Institute?
Well, before I answer that, let me just introduce myself. My name is Ken Schwarz. I am the co-owner and CISO for a managed services and security provider in the United States based out of Florida. We have clients all over the country, and I was part of the September 2025 Cyber Leadership Program cohort. So I would say that my journey into cyber leadership, I don't want to say it happened by accident, but it wasn't something that I set out to do. My 30 years in IT have been mostly on the infrastructure side, dealing with servers, networks, desktops, that kind of thing. It wasn't until I started Blue Link Consulting, my managed service provider, that cybersecurity and cyber leadership really became something that I was interested in. Part of that is because many of the clients that I have now, and most of the clients that I had when we first started, were in the healthcare and legal verticals, which are two highly regulated industries in the United States. Just dealing with the various regulations and compliance requirements for those businesses just was a natural progression for me to start moving into cyber leadership, cybersecurity. And that's pretty much what I've been focusing on for the last 15 years. Prior to that, my background was with various financial firms, mostly in New York City. Again, highly regulated, definite compliance requirements there that I was involved with, but not to the extent that I am now. And as far as my involvement with the Cyber Leadership Institute and the Cyber Leadership Program, it's only been over the last couple of years that I have been focusing on getting some of the cybersecurity certifications. Not so much as a pat on the back, but kind of like to reinforce the foundations within the cybersecurity and cyber leadership that I already had, CISSP, CISM, those kinds of things. So I just happened to be on the ISC2 website looking for continuing education opportunities in order to meet the requirements for my CISSP, and happened to come across the option for Cyber Leadership Institute and the Cyber Leadership Program. And being somebody who does my research and everything, I looked into it, looked into the Institute, looked into the people that own it, Dan, Phil, and Jan. Very impressed with their backgrounds and what they did in order to start this. I love the fact that this business was basically started at a cafe or something of that nature. And knowing that it was skills that I needed to build and enhance, I took the plunge, and I can honestly say that it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And I will say that exact same thing to anybody that I meet that is in cyber leadership or looking to get into cyber leadership. It is definitely a program that is worth looking into.
Looking back, what was a pivotal moment or challenge that shaped the kind of leader you are today?
Pivotal moments or challenges that shaped me as a leader, I'd have to say there's really two. I spent 13 years in the United States Army, was a leader, squad leader, platoon leader while I was there, and that was definitely my first exposure to leadership. And just learning of the type of leader that I wanted to be. I did not want to be the walk-in, bark orders kind of, typical military leader. Did not like those myself, and that was definitely not somebody that I wanted to become. So it was basically a learning experience, and the concepts that I really grasped at that time were understanding and knowing the people under you, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and as a leader, helping those people under you with their weaknesses and overcoming their weaknesses, and then leveraging their strengths when you needed them. So I would say that was a pivotal moment for me. And then jump ahead several years ago, I was working with a client, and we had a situation where they were under a ransomware attack. Now, this was a client that had refused to make large investments into cybersecurity, or at least necessary investments into cybersecurity. The one thing that they did invest in was a robust backup and recovery solution, which we insisted on, or we were going to fire them as clients. So 2 a.m. on a Monday morning after a long weekend, stuff starts going offline. We get the call, we start taking a look at things, and assets are going offline one after another. Within a matter of hours, probably about 95% of this client's infrastructure was encrypted. Jump ahead, we were able to get them back up and running without paying a ransom in a matter of days because of the backup and disaster recovery we insisted on. That right there, and the fallout and what we went through with the client afterwards, again, leads me into what I'm talking about here, the pivotal moment in becoming a leader. If I particularly, and my partner also, had not insisted on this client spending the money on the backup and disaster recovery solution that we recommended, he would have been down for weeks, if not longer. So it was us sticking to our guns, me sticking to my guns, and going in there knowing that I was right about a technology and about a solution and about a security control that the client, who was a lawyer, did not know anything about. And then being able to convince that person that they needed to make this investment saved his business. Funny story is that while this was going on, while we were rebuilding their infrastructure with offsite backups, he had to go to the bank to get a loan in order to make payroll because all the accounting software was down. So he walks into the bank, he's talking to the bank manager, and they get into the discussion about why he needs the loan and everything, and the bank manager lets him know that there were 3 other companies in the same area that suffered a ransomware attack at the exact same time. Unfortunately for them, they did not have the IT consultants that our client had. They did not have the robust backup and disaster recovery solutions that they needed, and they ended up paying the ransom and were still down for a considerable amount of time. So he felt a lot better about that. We had long discussions post-mortem of this event and everything regarding what we had done for him, what we had insisted on, and the only fact that he still had a business to run was because we were able to get him back up and running in a significantly short amount of time. So those 2 things, I think, right there made me the type of leader that I believe that I am today. Always room for improvement, and that was one of the reasons why I joined the Cyber Leadership Program. But those are, I think, 2 foundational incidents that helped shape what I am today.
How has the Cyber Leadership Institute experience influenced your growth professionally and personally?
I think my involvement with the Cyber Leadership Institute and the Cyber Leadership Program has greatly influenced my growth, both professionally and personally. Even though that I'm a business owner and I deal with other business owners on a daily basis for what we do, I have definite gaps, and I recognize that I have definite gaps in leadership skills and abilities. For example, the capstone project for the Cyber Leadership Program was pitching a resiliency plan to a board of directors. I've never had to do that. I deal with small, medium-sized enterprises. They don't have boards. Most of them are single owners or partnerships. So it's more of a one-on-one conversation regarding what needs to be done, as opposed to going in and asking, a group of 5, 10, 15, 20 people for a $5 million budget. So hearing those stories and those experiences and learning those skills from people that have done it, Darren, Jan, Phil, my colleagues within the cohort was an experience that personally I don't believe that money can buy. I am so glad that I made the decision to be part of that program. I believe firmly that the skills and the experience that I learned and that I've had with it are going to greatly help me going forward, not only in the business that I'm doing now, but in future businesses that I have plans to start. And even if at some point I end up going back to corporate America again and then needing to deal with more of that senior leadership board type culture and environment, I think I'm better positioned now than I was before.
In your current role, how do you drive cyber resilience and influence culture within your organization?
Driving resilience and culture in my organization really isn't that hard. We're small, just a handful of employees. That said, I think I am in a different category than most of my colleagues that I had within the cohort, or other people that I speak with on LinkedIn or deal with in real life that are doing cybersecurity for corporations. I mean, you guys, your culture, you work for a corporation. You are working for a organization. The culture throughout the organization is pretty much the same. When you pitch resiliency, it's for that one organization. I've got 50 different clients spread all over the United States, 50 different cultures. When I'm pitching resiliency, it's to 50 different clients. If I need a product to sell or they need a service to implement or a control that needs tweaking, that's 50 different clients that I need to do that for. So when it comes to influencing culture and resilience, I find that, I don't want to say that I'm an actor, but that actor's ability to portray many roles, I think, is something that I have developed over the years. Because I'm talking to different business owners in different businesses, in different industries, in different sectors of different sizes, with different concerns, doctors, lawyers, painters. I mean, our client list is long and varied. So just being able to go in and understand the business that's at stake and being able to pitch and discuss and convince about investments that need to be made in resiliency or other controls or whatever, it is definitely a skill that I have built over the years, and I believe that I am still developing. As far as culture, like I said, the culture in every business is different. Every environment that you go to, you're going to have a different type of culture. It's almost impossible for me, for what I do, to influence 50 different cultures. That said, when you start with resiliency, when you start with getting the business owners to understand security, the requirements of security, what they should be doing for security, making sure they are protected and everything, I firmly believe in a top-down flow of the culture. It is driven by the people at the top. And if the employees see that the ownership, that the managers are invested and involved in this, and they understand that the first line of defense is them. It's not me as a cybersecurity professional or a cyber leader. It's them, not opening that email, not clicking that link, not going to that website. When that happens, I think that the culture shift is organic, and it happens pretty much based on the environment and the ecosystem that the management and the ownership sets themselves. That rubs off on their employees and the people that work for them. It not always works that way, and sometimes it needs a little push, but that's what we're here for, right?
What is one powerful principle, mindset, or strategy you've learned that truly works, something every emerging cyber leader should know?
I think a principle or mindset that works, and if I was going to give advice to any up-and-coming cyber leader, would be to learn the business. That is something that I learned a long time ago. Even before I started my own company. but going out and dealing with, as I mentioned before, 50 different, business owners, leaders, managers, at these companies, you've got to understand the business. They don't care that you know NMAP or that you know Seam or that you know this or they want to know that you're concerned about what their net profit is going to be at the end of the year and what you're recommending to them, how that is going to affect that one way or another. You need to understand this. I think I was a little bit better positioned for this than many of my colleagues who have backgrounds. They went out and got degrees in cybersecurity or management information systems or whatever. My degree was in business administration. So from the beginning, and one of the reasons why I started my own company is I understood the business. I understood the finances. I understood the marketing. I understood, the HR and the things that were involved with that. When you are discussing programs or controls or services or systems with the people that are going to sign the checks or approve the budgets and everything, they need to know that you understand what their concerns are. Their concerns are not that they could get breached. That is your concern as a professional. That should be your concern as a professional. Their concern is, are they going to make enough revenue over the next month to make payroll? Are they going to make enough revenue over the next quarter to make their shareholders happy? That's what you need to be concerned with, and you need to understand as well when you go in and pitch these programs. That is one thing that I learned, as I had mentioned, long ago, but it was also solidified from my experiences with the Cyber Leadership Program. I think I had mentioned, I had never pitched to a board before. I've been dealing with small, medium-sized businesses. Granted that the capstone project for the program was a simulation, but still, public speaking and putting that together with the belief that an actual board would be taking a look at that and making a decision on whether you understood their business or what's going on. There's a lot of pressure there. And I think it was a great experience for me. I know it was a great experience for my colleagues within the cohort. Again, that would be the one thing that I would recommend as an up-and-coming cyber leader. It's great that you understand the technology. It's great that you understand, the nuts and bolts of cybersecurity or even being a leader. Know the business.